We'll be doing the brakes on our 2014 Grand Cherokee. This is a diesel in Australia. Now, while you're shopping for brakes, you're going to come across 3 different sizes, and they depend on a couple things. The biggest will be the SRT. So unless you got the SRT where it says SR8T and it's 6.4 liter V8 with big Brembos, you'll have massive calipers that say Brembo on them. You'll have one of these other 2. There's a heavy duty, which is in Australia here, all the Jeeps are heavy duty, or if you're in the States, there's a smaller brake package too. And the way to tell, other than measuring, because it's a bit different in size, the rears on the heavy duty, when you come back and look, come on camera, are vented. So they're open. So what that means is they're not a solid piece of metal. They're open like this, and see those holes? That means they're vented. So if you've got this rotor on the back, you've got the let's call it the medium of the 3 sizes, and the bigger of this caliper style. So there you go. So that's how you determine which size brakes you have and which ones you need to order. So we got the car jacked up. We got a jack stand under there as well. We need a 19 mil socket, and we're just going to remove the caliper because we're not just swapping out pads. We're going to replace the rotor as well, because these are there's 115,000 kilometers on this car, but we've lived by the ocean and there's a pretty good lip with a few, see that? So we're going to change this out. Not hard. We got a few on an online sale, but we'll just get the 19. We'll pull the caliper. Got some cable ties ready because I'll use that to hang the caliper from the suspension. Good time to check things like your upper ball joint. You can see we've just replaced that, your tie rod arm. Just give everything a wiggle, see how the movement is, but we'll grab the 19 and pull that off. So the bolts in question are these ones. There's one here and the one right there to the tip of my finger. So they're 19s. So they're on there pretty good, so we'll have to go in there, get them started with the breaker bar. Oh, are they 19s? No, that's odd. Well, they are in fact 21s, so here we go. We will get them started here. Now, I've got a caliper spreader tool, which I'll show you, but if you don't, you might want to pull your pads out because it's easier to get leverage on them. Easier to get leverage on them while the caliper's still on the car. So, but now let's see if we can move this. Oh, just. Wow, these are on there. I think I recall, the torque spreading is like 170 newton meters. It's like 100 and, I don't know. I'll work out the conversion and have it on screen later. I don't know if I can get this with the right angle here. Series of little extensions, that should be able to do it. And lifting, there we go. Use your legs, not your back. Okay, that's loose. I gotta undo that spring, so I'll just take it off. So we just need a flathead screwdriver, and we'll push on this and take it off while we still got able to get some leverage there. So to get that off, just need some pressure this way. So we'll use the rest of the brake. There we go. That's it, doesn't take much. Just push down in the middle, slide it off. I'm gonna take these out, and I'm gonna give these calipers a little hit with some black paint to freshen them up. So they're looking a bit ratty. Painted them 10 years ago. Never really did any much maintenance on that, but needs a little tidy. All right, now with that done, we'll go back to pulling these caliper bolts out. There we go. There, we got the caliper tied up. And then you see the pads just falling out. So not a whole lot of material left on these. Probably could have gone maybe another, 1,000 kilometers, 2,000 kilometers, but time to get them done. And that one just pushes them back. There we go. This little thing, let's see here. Those hold them in. And that one's come off, so that one's just rusted clean away. So I'll get the screwdriver and pop that one out. Careful not to damage the dust boots. There we go. I don't know where that went. There it is. That's a clip from the other one. Okay, so those pads are done. Now we'll give this, not too bad. They're not leaking or anything. That's what we want to check. Now, yeah, these have big brakes. These are like the size of a lot of sports cars from the 2000s and 90s. So, but all right, that's pads out. We'll compress the calipers in a second, but first I think we'll take off the rotor. Now, rotors on these, now you can't really, you can just see it there. There is a O-ring. So grab a pick or a finer screwdriver and we'll remove that, which is a little O-ring to hold it in place. Pretty neat. So I don't know if you have one of these, but they're very handy. Just a caliper tool to push them back and just screw it in. Oh, but first, before we get moving on that, let's get up under the hood and we're just gonna open the cap. Here's your brake reservoir. Open the cap up. Okay, and we're gonna put some paper towel around it just in case we get it overflowing, but we got a bit of room. Ooh, it needs a brake fluid change too. All right, we'll flush the fluid as part of this as well. There we go. Got some paper towel, rags, whatever you want, wrapped around the reservoir, and that way if it overflows, it'll get, most of it should get soaked up there. Okay, put that back down and we'll start back to compressing. All right, and it'll be easier to compress too with that open. So just slowly turn them one at a time. While we're at it, we'll just pull the caliper apart because you've got these pins here and we got some brake caliper grease, but any of the high temp kind of grease will do. We'll just rest that back there. And just slide some on. So this is the one we used, PBR, brake caliper, slide pin grease, but yeah, every auto parts store has it. This should always be part of your job, brake job. And what you'll do is you'll grease these up, but then you'll put this on the back of the pads and inside the pistons there as well. Just put a little dab. Always put a bit of grease on everything. Okay, so yeah, they just come apart. They just come apart, so not too hard to put back together. Okay, with the caliper hanging, shit. I gave the caliper a little spray, and now I'm gonna remove that little rubber O-ring. So I got my favorite little messed up, bent flathead screwdriver, and I'll just pick it out. Take your time. It's gonna have rust on it, as you can see. But we're gonna reuse this because I don't have replacements. That ring was a real pain to get out. I needed 2 hands, working 2 screwdrivers to get it out, but probably a good pick would do it. Now that would most likely be from not having a mounting screw on these, because obviously this shares the same platform as the Mercedes with the M-Class. Yeah, and all the European ones have a wheel bolt instead of a stud and a screw, but anyway, that's off. Now we need to get the rotor off, so that's going to take a few good hits with a hammer, no doubt, and we should be able to whack that enough to get it off. done. Okay. Old rotor. Yeah, you can see how much of a lip and corrosion there is on the back of this. Not a lot on the hub because we don't, where we are in Australia, we don't get snow. So, but we do get some salty ocean air. We're not far from the ocean. So anyway, we'll give that a little clean up with a wire brush. And we're ready to put the new one on, but we'll put a little bit of, usually, well, no, not on this, I don't need to. Usually I put a little bit of copper grease on the hub, but you can if you're in a rusty spot. I think I'm going to go without today. With any new rotor, you're going to want to wipe it down because I cover it in grease so it doesn't get rust on it when it's in transport and storage. So you just want to go with some brake clean. Give it a good wipe down. I got some Bosch rotors. See what came off of that. I got some Bosch rotors. They were on sale the other day from one of the local online guys. There we go, getting it off. Now we're gonna do that for the other side, and then carefully with our handling of it, and then we'll give it another wipe down once it's mounted on the car. Okay, on she goes. Now these ones aren't directional. Some of the slotted, grooved ones are. Here we go. That is on there, and then we got our O-ring, which we've cleaned up a little bit. And just stretch that on, and then we'll snap into place and hold it on for us. Easier said than done, maybe. There it goes. O-ring is on. And I'll just use a little screwdriver to kind of poke it a little bit so it's just seated properly. There we go. For our pads, we went with a DBA Street Series. We use those on quite a few of our cars. Nice Australian company. And you'll notice on these pads, see that metal thing? Yes, okay, well that's important because that corresponds with a certain side. So that's the one we just took off. And that's got it on there. That's the same one there. Just to have a look at the thickness, that is what we just took off. And that is what's going on. So yeah, we were way down there. And of course the inside one has all the spiky bits to hold on to into the pistons. Okay, we've got the caliper ready to receive the pads. Now there's channels here. Now, well, DBA is pretty nice that they give you a bit of a grease. So you want to grease these areas here because these are going to be sliding. That's going to be metal on metal in the caliper bracket. And of course, this one's not too bad because it clips in, but we're going to put a little bit of grease on it anyway for vibration and squeal. But we'll really load up the other one because that one's going to be loose. It doesn't have these little clips, but we're going to grease those clips as well. So everything's got a bit of grease on it, except the pad face, because yeah, you won't be able to stop, and that wouldn't be good. So okay, we're greased up there. Again, this is a bit different if you are only changing the pads, but I'm going to clean the grease off my hands here. And you can put a bit of grease on the caliper itself where those kind of top bits go into the where the pad goes in. I'll get some paper towel because I'm pushing on the pad face to engage those clips on the back, and I don't want it to get greasy. Well, that was a bit of a mission to get it in, but ended up doing was the clips on the back of the pad. I had to use some pliers and crush them in a little bit. They were just too wide, and even then it took two hands and all my force to put it in there. So wrap it up with some paper towel, jam it in, and there you go. Now we've got the other pad ready to go in here. So this one should be a lot easier. And we will grease the backside and the areas where it's going to slide. So through here and the sides and here and this little metal thing here. There we go, lots of grease on it. Load it up, and then we'll just wipe our hands and put that in. And that'll just, yeah, that's it, just drop into place there, like so. The pads are pushed back plenty far enough. Give them a little wipe just to make sure there's no grease on them. And then we're going to get the bottom bolt started here. Wherever it went, there it is. There we go. We didn't get it started. Get the top one started. And then we're going to crank him down. Oh, you know, slide it in there. There it is. Now, what's going on here? Is my brake line overly twisted? It is. I think we've done a few too many loops with the brake line. What's happened here? That's it. Come on. There it is. Still have to do one more thing. Let's put our little clip back in. That goes in pretty simply. Which way does it go? It goes in this way. So you got part that goes in, part that goes on. It's gonna YouTube to the rescue as always. So we got this to sit on top like that, and then we need to, with two hands, basically squeeze and get those tabs to lock in. So that pulls the caliper forward. There we go. Clippity clip clip, and we're on. So there we go. We'll give it a little another wipe down with brake clean. Now all that's left to do is to torque those caliper bolts back on. They are 175 Newton meters or 129 pounds-foot. Put the wheel back on, torque the wheels. They're 100 pounds-foot, which is about 130, 135 Newton meters. So that's it. Crank them down, and it's back on. That is the front brakes on this Grand Cherokee. Done.